All right, so following the Raiders' bad losses, I thought I would talk about the Raiders quarterback, Derek Carr. So, yeah, obviously Derek Carr has been our quarterback since 2014. He's taken us to the playoffs one time, but he didn't play in the playoff game, obviously, because he got injured in weeks before that on Christmas Eve against the Colts. We all know that. But I seriously don't think there's a quarterback more controversial between one fan base than Derek Carr. There's such big debate between the Raider Nation about whether Derek Carr is the right fit. There's people that defend Derek Carr no matter what. There's people that hate Derek Carr under most circumstances. And for me, I guess I'll talk about my stance on it. So, I mean, I'm generally a pretty big supporter of Carr, but I think I kind of hit a breaking point after the Bengals loss because I finally was able to come to the realization and decipher the same pattern that happens every year. At least the past 3 years. Before that, it was different. But the problem with Derek Carr is he simply can just not go a full season with endurance and, perseverance and winning culture. He'll go a good 5, 6, maybe 7 games playing good, and then he'll just drop off. He'll fumble. He'll do all these bad things in game. And the only reason he gets support is because he's a nice guy. That's the thing. Like, he's obviously a good speaker, and he's just, a good person. Like, he's a nice guy, but the problem is he's not a good player on the field most of the time. So that's an issue. So let's look at, like, the seasons following that really good 2016 season. Okay, 2017, 6-10. Obviously, he's coming off an injury, so I'm not really surprised about that. 2018, they went 4-12, last in the division, terrible. And I mean, that was just a pretty garbage season all around. Yeah. Then 2019, the last year in Oakland, the Raiders started out really good on the year. I believe they were like 6-4, 6-5, and then they just played terribly. Won one of their final games, and then they lost. They were 7-9, but the future did look bright. Like, Josh Jacobs was good. Darren Waller was emerging. Hunter Renfrow, like the guys we all know now. Then we go to 2020. They were 6-3. Then they finished 8-8. I mean, you got to put the blame on Carr there. Even though the defense was pretty bad that year, Derek Carr had a lot of bad mistakes. Now 2021, the Raiders start off 3-0. Then they go to 5-2 eventually. Now they're 5-5. And Derek Carr has been pretty terrible, in the better half of this season. He's been just pretty inconsistent. He's been throwing a lot of interceptions. His completion percentage is at 67%. He has 16 touchdowns through 10 games. He's been sacked 22 times. It's just, like, he's good at some stats, like passing yards. He has over 3,000, but it's just, like, it's annoying that he's throwing 9 interceptions through 10 games, and it's like, can he go a couple games without throwing one at least? I mean, it's just, he's fumbled 70 times in 8 seasons or whatever, and it's just, like, terrible that he's just not careful with the ball. He's not athletic, and, I said before, like, I was a pretty big fan of Carr, like, and then I always hear that, like, he's saying, oh, put the blame on me. But then, like, why doesn't he fix it? He says, oh, I've been a Raider fan for 20 years, and I'm tired of losing. But he's the reason they're losing. It doesn't make any sense. It's contradictory. Now, meanwhile, we have backup quarterback Marcus Mariota, who I think hasn't fully shown his full potential. I think he has a lot of room to grow, but I also think he's a good quarterback. He's been in playoff games before. So I don't really understand why they can't just give Marcus Mariota a chance. Maybe trade Carr at some point. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff you can do when you have 2 solid quarterbacks. And honestly, though, I don't even know if I'd call Carr solid at this point. But I know Mariota has a lot of potential, and he hasn't shown all of it yet. That last year game against the Chargers, I thought Mariota might even get the start the following game. When Mariota lost to the Chargers 30-27 in overtime. I mean, not his fault for the loss by any means, but it was a really good game from him. And I just don't think, I kind of lived by the ideology that great quarterbacks win Super Bowls, right? Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, historically, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Troy Aikman, like plenty of guys, Steve Young, great quarterbacks, elite Hall of Famers, good quarterbacks, good quarterbacks they can take you to the Super Bowl. They're probably not going to win you one. Look at past year's Super Bowls, right? Jimmy Garoppolo, good quarterback, average, lost the Super Bowl. Jared Goff, good quarterback, lost the Super Bowl. Plenty of other examples out there, you know? I think you have to be great to win it. You have to be elite, and Derek Carr is nowhere near that, and he's never been really near that, maybe besides that 2016 season. With that being said, I think when you've had a guy this long and you haven't made the playoffs and you're in a 20-year playoff win drought, I think you got to move on from the guy. Seriously, and it sucks because he's been a fan favorite. He clearly loves being a Raider, but I think he's not what we need to win. I think we need someone better, and I think we need a fresh start, whether it be drafting a guy, trading for a guy, signing for a guy, or hell, just using Marcus Mariota. I don't know. Let me know your guys' thoughts, because like I said, this is a very controversial topic. There's people that defend Carr under a lot of means, and there's people that are pretty anti-Carr. I don't know. I'm leaning towards the anti-Carr side because I don't think the guy's very good, to be honest with you. He's not athletic, and, look at some of the best quarterbacks in the league, right? Lamar Jackson, super mobile. Patrick Mahomes, he loves dancing around the pocket. Okay, Tom Brady isn't, but Tom Brady always has a great O-line, something the Raiders don't have. Plenty of other guys. Justin Herbert, he can be crafty in the pocket. He also has great field vision, and Carr doesn't have great field vision. He overthrows guys, throws into double coverage. Carr just isn't very smart on the field sometimes. He makes a lot of bad decisions. His football IQ is sometimes lackluster, and he fumbles the ball all the time, which I don't know how you do that as an NFL quarterback. I don't know why he's not practicing that. He'll be untouched, and he'll fumble the ball. But no, I think the reason why people are so defensive of him is because he's been on the team so long. He's one of the longest tenured quarterbacks active right now. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers is one of them, and there's some others, but Ben Roethlisberger. But Derek Carr has been a Raider for a long time. But the difference between him and Roethlisberger and Rodgers and these other quarterbacks that have stayed on one team for a long time is they have Super Bowl success. Carr, and there's the other argument too that Carr doesn't have the weapons around him to produce. I mean, he did last year, and he certainly does this year. So that's not really true. I mean, last year he had dare I say, Henry Ruggs. He had Hunter Renfrow. He had Darren Waller, who was a monster that season. He had Nelson Aguilar last year. I mean, this year he has Hunter Renfrow, he had Darren Waller, Zay Jones. There are guys that are good. And, I mean, I don't really understand that argument. I do think his offensive line isn't very good. But a lot of quarterbacks don't have good offensive lines. And they still produce and make the playoffs. So, yeah, anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on this. I don't think Derek Carr is very good. But you might have a different opinion. So, see you guys later. And, yeah, peace out.